Right, I think everyone's back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just share my screen and I'm going to talk through a few of our survey results that we found that I thought were particularly interesting for our from what our respondents had to say. So I will just get that up. There we go. So I hope everyone can see that. So our the Discover part of our survey really focused on asking people about their acts of kindness that they'd witnessed, seen, heard of, done themselves. And not only was that really lovely to read, but it also gives us really valuable information into what people are already doing and what people are valuing the most from acts of kindness, what they're noticing the most. So we can really take from that what we should be taking forward and implementing into other areas of our lives and society, because we know that's what's being noticed and that's what people are enjoying doing and hearing about. So there we go. The first thing I'm going to talk about is this word cloud, or word heart, I should say. And this shows the most common words used in when people were talking about their acts of kindness. And the most common word, as you can see right there in the middle, was help. And actually 49% of all the acts of kindness spoken about referred to helping or supporting other people or receiving that help. And if you look on the heart, you can see other words like neighbour, friend, someone, people. And one thing you could take from that is those are the people that they were giving help to. And I quite like that one of the biggest words is someone, and it means that it doesn't have to be someone directly linked to you. It is just someone out there deserves that act of kindness. There is also words on there like give, need, and mate. All of these things refer to physically doing kindness, and doing kindness was actually the most spoken about, but it's really important to reflect on and take notice of the other pathways of kindness, like listening, seeing, helping. And whilst that's really important, the whole thing about an appreciative inquiry is to look at what is already being done and learning from that, and almost congratulating ourselves. And if doing kindness is what's really evident, we need to see where the value is in that, and try and implement that into other parts of our lives. When we were looking through the responses, the one thing that did really strike me was actually there was quite a big disproportion between when people were talking about giving kindness to others in comparison to giving kindness to themselves. So actually 7% of when they were asked to define kindness actually related to self-love and self-kindness. And that's reflected in them when describing acts of kindness. Only 1 out of 127 responses referred to an act of kindness towards themselves. And if you were with us yesterday, our panelists spoke about the importance of being kind to yourself first, because only then can you truly understand the value of giving kindness to others. And how can we expect a society to be kind? How can we go into a situation knowing and expecting someone to be kind if we're not being kind to ourselves? We won't value it. And I think this is a really, really big thing. That is it because we're not giving it? Because I personally think a lot more people are giving themselves kindness than it's being said. But is there this worry that by talking about it, we're being selfish, rather than saying, oh, I did this for someone? Is it selfish to say, I did this for myself? And I think that's something that needs to be discussed, because I don't think there's anything selfish about taking 10 minutes out of your day to have a cup of tea and reflect on your own life than any more so than taking 10 minutes out of your day to have a cup of tea while talking to someone else who's struggling. But also, the one thing that I take from this is that if you flip this on its head, it also means that 93% of definitions related to being kind to others. And we got to read 126 acts of kindness that have already happened to other people, and that doesn't mean 126 people, that was communities, nations. So you can imagine how many people those acts of kindness included. And really what we want to do today is really focus on what we're already doing and what lovely things are happening and what people are learning from them and why they're doing that, so that we can implement that into our lives. And then the last thing I really wanted to go into was where these acts of kindness occurred. So as you can see, there's lots of environments on this donut chart. So amongst friends, in a charity, in the home, but the largest chunk was in the community, and that was 35.3%, which is quite a large amount, especially when compared to in a business setting where it's only 4.2%. And my first question that came to my head is, what is happening in a community environment that is sparking all this kindness from taking place? What is it that means that when you go into that environment, people are being more kind? Is it that there are limitations on other environments like working hours, responsibilities, jobs, money, and the community is all about spontaneity? Or strangers, maybe it's that you notice it more because you don't know that person. Maybe we aren't taking notice of our closest people around us who are maybe kind daily, but it means that we're kind of blocking it out, not in a mean way, but in a way of sitting down and having a cup of tea with your partner is a daily task we do. Is it that that's not seen as kind, but going and having a cup of tea with someone who's struggling is more linking to our brain as a kind act of kindness? And yesterday, Kim Conchi spoke about these almost false news when it comes to the business world and how being selfish and almost rude is going to get you ahead, and you have to focus on yourself. But actually, he said that's not the case. The case is that kindness will always win, and kindness is what everyone looks for in the next promotion candidate. They don't want to give it to someone who they don't want to work with. And so is it that in these other environments there are almost these false expectations of what we have to be kind, and these aren't happening in the community? And these are all kind of questions that I don't have the answer to, but I want to know the answer to. And this is why conversations and things like this session work really well, because everyone will have a difference of opinion on these questions, on this data. And that's how amazing it is that really everyone will take something different, and that's the only way we're going to learn and be able to strive for kindness, is if we're taking on board what everyone is saying and almost using all those different insights as building blocks or bricks of a pathway that will eventually lead us to a more kind society. So that's my little summary of the results. But like I said, everyone will take something different. And in a minute, I'm going to put you back in your breakout rooms, and I'm going to include the link to our Google Drive folder that has some summaries of data, the full responses, some theme analysis. And as a group, you can look through that and decipher what you take from the survey results. But that's not just where we want it to stop. We want you to talk about your own lives and your own insights into what's happened in your sector or in your job, in your home, and give your favorite examples of kindness. Get excited about it. Try and get someone to do an act of kindness today, or try and take one thing that someone said and imply it today. But you can look at where kindness is working well and stories that show it's working well, and then we can start to look at why that is and what we can learn from it.